Hello friends, this video on body movements part 18 is brought to you by examfear.com. No more fear from exam. So now this was all about human beings, that how human beings move, what are the various points where movement take place. What about other organisms? So we have a lot of other organisms like earthworm, snail, snake, cockroach. So how do these organisms move? So let us quickly have a look at all of these. So let's start with earthworm. So a brief intro to earthworm. It is a reddish brown terrestrial invertebrate, that is, they do not have the vertebral column. So if they do not have vertebral column, they basically do not have the backbone which we have, because of which we are able to stand. That is why earthworm do not stand, they just creep over the ground. Mostly it is seen during rainy season, they are more visible, otherwise they live under the soil. They are often called as farmer's friend because presence of earthworm in the soil increases the fertility of the soil. So the castings of earthworm, they improve the texture of the soil, they improve the quantity of humus in the soil. So therefore it benefits farmers, because when the fertility of the soil improves, the crop cultivation or the crop production also improves. They live on upper layers of soil, but during the rainy seasons, since the soil gets completely clogged with water, they tend to come out of the soil on the surface, and that is why we see them more during rainy season. In terms of food, they eat any living or dead organic matter. Sometimes they can eat some tiny worms which are present in the soil, or even dead plant parts. So they can feed on both living and dead matter. Now, when you look at the body of an earthworm, so the body is segmented from head to tail. So from the starting till the end, you can see that the body is divided into segments like this. This is segment 1, 2, 3, 4. So each of these is a segment. So this is one segment, this is another segment, this is the third segment, so on. So the entire body is divided into segments. So that is why this type of worms are also known as segmented worms. Now each segment is separated from the next segment by a partition, and this partition is known as septum. Now there is not one septum, obviously, because there are so many partitions here. So the plural of septum is septa. So the entire body has a number of partitions. Each segment has muscles and bristles called setae. So when you look at each of these segments, they will have some tiny hair-like structures or tiny spike-like structures, and those structures are also muscular in nature. Now since they are muscular in nature, what does that mean? Muscles help in movement. So basically these structures will help the earthworm move from one place to another. So setae is one of those structures which will help it move. So when you look at it more closely, you can observe these tiny bristles here. So these are the bristles. So now let's see how exactly an earthworm moves. So when you look at the body of an earthworm, they do not have bones. So that is one interesting thing, that they do not have bones. So they move only with the help of the muscles. Now, in fact, as you can see that they are invertebrates. They do not have the vertebral column, no backbone, because there is no bone in their body. Now, when it comes to the muscles, their bodies have two types of muscles. They have longitudinal muscles as well as circular muscles. Now, what happens is, when you look at an earthworm, you see that earthworm's body is divided into segments like this. Right? Now, every segment has two types of muscles, circular muscles and longitudinal muscles. Now how these two types of muscles work? Now contraction of circular muscles and relaxation of longitudinal muscles, that causes a segment to extend. So one particular segment gets extended because of that. Similarly, When the vice versa happens, that is contraction of longitudinal muscles and relaxation of circular muscles, that causes a segment to become short. So basically what's happening is, so let me write it here. So whenever there is contraction of circular muscles and relaxation of longitudinal muscles, so whenever this would happen, because as I said that muscles always work in pairs, so when one type of muscle is contracting, the other has to relax. So when this happens, then so whenever this happens, then overall that particular segment extend. Now when the opposite happens, that is when the circular muscles relax and the longitudinal muscles contract, in that case overall the segment will shorten. So basically when you look at it, you see this is the head of the earthworm. So first this portion expands, then what happens, this portion shortens, the next portion expands. So you see here the portion, every time this yellow part shows which portion expanded. So gradually you see it is moving in this direction. So first this part shortened, then the next part shortened, then further the next part shortened, and that's how gradually this earthworm is also moving in the forward direction. So earlier it was at this point, then it moved this much, then it moved this much, then it moved this much, and so on. So gradually it is moving in the forward direction. So these contraction and relaxation, this expansion and contraction of particular segments allows the body to move forward. Now, to give it a better grip to move on the soil, they have setae. Setae, that is the bristles and the muscles which are present over their body. So these bristles allow them to have a good hold on the soil. That is why if you take out an earthworm from the soil and put it on a very rough surface, you would not see it moving very comfortably. It will move very slow, because its structure is designed in such a way that it can move very comfortably on the soil. So whenever you look at an earthworm moving, just try to observe it closely. You will see that when it starts to move, the front part extends and the rear part is fixed. So only the front part will expand, the end part will remain fixed. And again after some time, the front part will remain fixed and the rear part will expand. And this is how it will move. Now it doesn't move very fast, because with this kind of expansion and contraction, obviously the movement is going to be very slow. So they move slowly. So if possible, try to observe this movement of earthworm. So that will make you feel more exciting, because what you are learning, you will actually see there. So muscles help earthworm in movement. Now how muscles help, I think that's clear now. These two types of muscles with their collaborative effort help the earthworm to move. Thank you. Please visit www.examfear.com to watch more educational videos with a better experience. Please do not forget to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel for latest updates. Thank you once again.